oh boy, this one's going to be interesting. We have a very, very interesting Spirit setup for you. Coming into this Tavi, we are seeing Spirit on Wrecker's Yard, which is very familiar to us in OCE, but a bit different this time round. We have no forced add-ons, but I'm pretty sure we're still going to see the same things, Tavi. But regardless, what are you expecting, first of all? And more importantly, welcome on in back to the caster's desk.
Yes, hello everyone. You might be aware that my voice was on last night as well, so it is perhaps a bit familiar, but yeah, we're on a different set now, of course. This time around, there is ping between these teams, so I would just expect just from that 4K1 on Spirit, just because simply you can't make as good decisions reactively to the phase. It does make a bit of difference, not being able to maybe react to the phase as quickly, whether it be dropping pallets, leaving, or just trying to locate the Spirit position. So yeah, maybe 4K1, maybe 4K0, see how it goes. Bill gets the first down fairly quickly, and that's also Painless being used, which, talking about the build fairly quickly, I think it's pretty standard. Actually goes to check Shack Locker. Yeah, fairly standard build. I know that Spirit has also run stuff like Dragon's Grip before, maybe even Ruin at times, but this is a stock standard, and it's going to do well for Bill here. So you're going to take the phase, maybe just keeping check of the surrounding environment. Can't really see anyone though, so I think it's just a triple split on the map. I'm not sure, Chief, but yeah, this gen is actually pretty close, so that means that halfway. There should be a lot of pressure on the board for this.
Yeah, I mean, look, and Lockie has been able to transfer that pressure onto his gen at 9 into a free unhook. He's managed to use balance landing off of his hill to make it there safely, and that's gotten Mango out of this situation for his first hook set. Unfortunately, he has run into the killer, but this pallet at 7 will buy him some extra time. A swing through comes out just at the wrong time for Bill. That will be him hitting Mango's BT, and Mango now, having dropped the pallet on the wrong side, will vault right into the embrace of the killer. That's going to be Lockie screaming at 9, or Ellie, rather, on Ceresia, even on the Claudette, screaming at 9. His position alerted by Eruption, and once again, Mango will be dragged back to this mid-6 hook. Another quick down for Bill, but problematic now is we're seeing our second hook onto Mango without a single gen being popped. We did opt for a triple split after we were unable to get much progress on Shack, and that kind of did interrupt us, that quick down. We were definitely looking to get that gen out of the way for the first chase, but I don't think Mango's first chase was what we were expecting on the side of Envy. Right now, though, we do see that gen at 9 popping, I believe, and we do have a fair bit of pressure across the board still, considering, once again, we did know that our survivors were triple splitting, but problems here. We do see Lockie getting into chase at 5, and fortunately for Envy, he's not taken a tag just yet. We're going to be able to let Mango sit for a little bit longer. He was trying to pressure this gen as long as possible, and potentially we were seeing somebody else set up for the save, but to no avail just yet. We see that gen at 9 pop finally. I'm not too sure what the first generator that popped was, because it definitely wasn't that one at 9. But that will be our second gen of the trial. 2 gens for 2 hook states so far. Definitely a positive start for our killers still. We do see this gen at 2 also about 50% Srezia here for this unhook as well. We know that there's the potential for one of our survivors, Lockie, to be here at mid-6. I believe he's probably just sitting the gen. We do see Heresia finally getting this trade, and it's going to be up to Mango now to last in chase.
I think that Shack Pallet is going to be enough to keep them safe for a while. That's going to be thrown, and this hook's going to be taken, but that's a good amount of distance. They kind of can make it all the way down the map to... Wait, down the map? Why'd I say down the map? Up the map. Up the map to the crane and really play out the best of their ability, but I guess that's a beautiful swing through by Bill. Maybe again that's the ping coming through. Maybe the pallet was close to dropping, or maybe the spacebar was close to being pressed on their screen, but now they're just dead and out of the trial. Luckily though, again, Envy's going to pop a gen. Also Shack wasn't thrown. I don't know what that. I assumed it would be. But yeah, they get one more gen done for this, and I think they don't actually get it done. Hold on. No, they did get it done. There was a different generator. This is where the game starts, right? Because now it's a 3v1. Sloppy Butcher is going to be in full effect in this 3v1. And although there are going to be some second chance perks in for the survivors, Spirit not being the top of the S tiers, well, not really even an S tier, not even a tier, not even tier one means that there's not as many second chance perks. So maybe second wind, maybe the how am I forgetting the name? Clean break could come through, but apart from that, not really too many other second chance perks might help the survivors. There's going to be the first tag onto Ellie, and they're just making their way to the next filler. It's not a bad filler, but of course against the Spirit, they're not supposed to last on that many pallets. Bill, though, did not body block it properly, but gets it down anyway, so that's just well played, Bill. And yeah, I don't really... I'm not really sure what to make of the situation. Maybe they can get another generator done. They should get another generator done. Maybe they can get 2 done. It's pretty promising, but getting 2 done is quite difficult. At least the unhook does come through quickly though, so there will be a bit of pressure on Bill to secure another tag with this chase. Does find the scratch marks though, so this is pretty important, and Survivor might be able to get away from this. No, they dropped the pallet, but okay, they are taking the tag, so yeah, I think if Envy could have made this chase a little bit longer, maybe if the stealth was successful, then it could have perhaps gotten a lot out of this. But as of right now, Silesia just goes down. They're going to be on second hook next to the active generator. It looks a little bit grim for our survivors.
Yeah, I have to admit that decision from Cerezia to not just take distance as soon as we saw the hook come through was a little bit worrying for me. I think that would have been the preferred option. Just trying to get a pre-leave and, you know, potential stealth to ensure that we weren't getting hooked close to this gen would have been probably game-changing. It's definitely the difference between a, you know, a 4K and potentially stages out the door, but yeah, we didn't see that pre-leave, and unfortunately the chase didn't last either. We saw a very quick tag on the edge map. We only had that edge map pallet to play around. There was no filler deep 6 left, and unfortunately for us, we took a very quick tag, and even though we took that tag, there was still promise. We had the pallet in the 4 lane that we could have used Lithe off of to try and get some distance away, but no, we decided to play around it instead, and once again, it led to a very quick down that we just couldn't afford, but now Ellie kind of in a similar situation, holding their SB for as long as possible, trying to make distance. They do make it all the way back to 12. Unfortunately, they lose the 50 on this pallet, a bit scared, and end up vaulting into the killer. So Bill now able to slug, knowing that Sane has to be close by. He was sticking that gen at 6, but now the unhook has to come through with his position alerted to Bill, and back to 6 he will go. Cerezia now left to last. They are on their death hook with no shack pallet, so only the window and Lithe yet again. They're going to be able to make their distance towards 3 if they so choose, but around Shack once again they go towards 9. They do have Crane at 11 still. We know Mango wasn't able to drop that for his final chase, and do have this pallet gym at 10 as well, and unfortunately for Cerezia, the swing through comes on out. Like you mentioned, the ping just biting us a little bit, making it a bit harder to react to Spirit's phases, and that will result in Cerezia exiting the trial. It's 2v1 at 1 gen remaining. Elivira still slugged at 12, and it's all up to Sane now to potentially rotate and get something going, but especially against Spirit Tavi, a very high tier killer, the 2v1 is going to prove very, very difficult to play. We see Ellie just crawling to the mid-map, potentially baiting a hook. Maybe Sane's going to play for Hatch and just hope that our killer player on the side of Envy might be able to match this and win on the minus penalty from the fresh bleed out, or potentially the Hatch escapes. Sorry, not the fresh bleed out, rather the Hatch escape itself. Ellie will not be bleeding out fresh, she has already been hooked, but Tavi, all things considered, you mentioned that a 4K1 would be most likely the expected result, considering the ping and all the other factors. We do know that Bill and Renewal by large are a very, very experienced team. They've been playing together for at least 3 years now and are definitely more than comfortable on Spirit. I'm sure we can have some flashbacks to this best of 3 game Gospel versus Renewal that you actually casted and refereed that lasted 3.5 hours, and they replayed Spirit 3 separate times. If they were keeping up with Gospel then, sure, you can imagine how well they must be doing now. But I think Envy getting a 4K1 is pretty impressive. I'm sure a lot of our audience are aware Envy are a newer team. They've only recently started competing together within the last 2 months, and considering they were able to get a 4K1 in this game with all the factors like ping and the experience of their opponents, I think they should be pretty proud of themselves.
I think this result is fairly standard for... sorry, not standard. But for an inexperienced team, I think the S tiers are going to be a bit of a set where it's a bit uncomfortable with some of the chases because against an extremely experienced killer, like in competitive, there would be a few issues coming through. That's a nice vault actually coming through, by Miss. Yeah. Anyway, um, the chases just being short for sort of keeps the mindset a bit different. You know, like you can't be playing like a pub game. Not saying that they would be playing like a pub game, but it's a completely different vibe to just having a lot of leisure to play out chases and just heading to a death spot instead, and perhaps taking that bit of game sense over the chase time potential. So I was yeah I was also gonna mention that the set which I'm always gonna keep on uh, going back to when I see Renewal and Gospel or Renewal or Gospel. That was Mo on the Spirit, so they've gotten a new Spirit player because I believe Mo is on Lyra, so or maybe not Lyra, I've forgotten.
Not
But
an NCT now.
that kind of caliber is quite incredible from I think both sides. They did manage to win the Spirit set with a pretty stacked Survivor lineup too, so Renewal survivors probably will. Depending on how Renewal play it, I would just immediately assume they could get a 4K zero at worst. Again, given the past performances, I I do sort of remember them playing very confidently on these sets. So uh what we'll probably see is well, what we might see, I should say, is stages because I really don't know how Ellie plays this killer. I've not seen them before taking the reins of the killer, so yeah, it's an experience for all of us, and they're gonna start this trial just doing good stuff, trying to keep the line of sight open. He's actually a crow runoff, so this is going to be our first survivor. I think it's Owen slash ADHD on the ace. That might have disappeared though. That's beautiful tracking actually, but the head-on comes through. So that was just a beautiful bait from our survivors here. Perhaps a little bit too much altruism though. I would not expect that from the start of the trial, and I guess that is not an ace Visconti. That's in fact Sky taking the first M1, and they have zoned themselves to this edge map. I think they just want to die to the corner. That would be my best guess here. At least going to K, lose a couple of seconds, valuable seconds here, trying to chase down our survivor Sky at the edge map, and this is the time I'm talking about. Where like you miss one phase, look at how much extra time the survivors had. Maybe it was just 15 seconds to 20 seconds, but that's a lot of time just of 3 survivors sitting on generators or just rotating in if you are in fact Owen, who's on the HUD, not on the generator. So yeah, good stuff by Sky, just being able to extend that chase. Ellie, of course, that's still a very nice first down for them. So it's what they have to make of this, I would say, early to middle game, I think will be most important. Like, how aggressive will they play on the generators? How far are they comfortable? How far away are they going to play from this hook and still deem it like a comfortable amount to then go back to tunnel out? And I think it's perhaps to the limit here of how far they want to go. But this is actually very nicely done. I would not have thought about standing on the hill to keep the line of sight really, really clear there. And as I say that though, the unhook comes through. The first gen is popping. So that's just Renewal at work. And they're also going to drop this track power here, Sky, with a stun too. So that's a beautiful distance being brought here, Chief.
Yeah, but I mean, look, the consolidation of that stun is that we do have a full phase back in our hands. We're going to see Sky make it all the way to 2, agreed this filler palette quite nicely, able to play towards the long side because of that, and that does buy Ellie some extra seconds in chase that they have to worry about, and now all the way to 12. This is exactly where Sky needs to be, but only this filler to play around. We're going to be able to zone and phase at the same time, making sure that they're stuck here, and all we've got to do is connect now. We hear the Jiggy. We've unfortunately lost Sky, but we've managed to catch out Dog playing for a potential save, and now the Jiggy towards 11 does come on out, but no, Ellie has caught out the rotation. The pallet in the 4 lane does get dropped. We see the Scratchies coming on through. We run on through once more, and unfortunately we just get a little bit lost there, but Sky still close in chase. Ellie in hot pursuit. We do see that PZ PZ is on a second gen. It's about to pop, and that will be 2 for potentially our second hook state of the game. But Ellie, once again, has gotten a little bit lost there in the phase. Sky doing wonderfully to be able to jiggy around with their noise. I don't think Rick is actually the loudest survivor as well, which is quite interesting, potentially in that locker. Yeah, and there you go. Sky finally on the ground. The reset onto Dog also does come out, and we're going to see our second hook of the trial. Our tunnel out potentially in the works, but it's a bit of a situation for Ellie now. Obviously, we do have a hook in our top gens, and our top gens are still quite good. Tavi, I'm pretty sure we do have this gen here at 1. I think we had the one at Shack, and obviously 11. Ooh, we did lose one of our top gens. We had a lot of them at the very start of the game. Now our gens are kind of very split, but I guess what's good for Ellie now is we are about to lose one of those gens. It might be that one at 10, which would not be ideal, or rather the one at 11, which would not be ideal, but right now, no, actually, it is one of the ones at bottom. So we still have gens with a hook in between them to work around. Right now, all we've got to do is play a bit defensive. We do see ADHD here at 2 set up for the pull. If they're caught out in this rotation, it would prove to be quite well. We know that our other 2 survivors, or at least us as the spectators, know that the gen there at 5 is being doubled, and that's going to be all of our pressure. The rest of the gens are so close to the hook, and I think Ellie right now needs to do their damnedest to not give up this unhook for free. Potentially going to get the trade off of this unhook now. Yeah, there you're going to see ADHD taking the trade, and potentially a pain res coming on out if we do so choose to take it. I think that's probably in our best interest, knowing that, once again, all the progress is on that bottom side generator. But now, difficult decision, Tavi. Do we continue this tunnel out? I think right now you definitely have enough time to, but the longer this chase goes, the more and more difficulties we're gonna see. We also see the quick and quiet head-on Iron Will. Unfortunately, the head-on does connect. That's also going to be Lucky Star, which is going to make this chase just that little bit more difficult to play around. Very interesting build, Tavi. You don't tend to see head-on, but Lucky Star I'm a very, very big fan of in this set. Fortunately for Ellie, I think seeing Lucky Star come on out is going to make this phase a little bit more difficult. Not the survivor you really want to be in chase with for the tunnel out right now, but consolidation, at least Sky will be heading on over to Deep 6. The phase once again does come on out. Going to try and jiggy around. We do make a little bit extra distance, but we will still be ending up on the ground. This is our tunnel out achieved at 1 generator remaining. We see ADHD and PZ doubling one of those gens top side. It's our 4th stage, and now ADHD with the down coming out has decided to rotate. Our other 2 survivors are still on this generator. Unfortunately, we don't have any eruption or a pain red stack to interrupt it, so that gen's going to have a lot of progress by the time we make it to there. And I think now for Ellie, we've got to just play for stages, Tavi. We definitely have to try and get as many stages as possible from this position.
Absolutely. I just think that the generators were hammered too hard by our survivors of Renewal. It was just the chases onto Sky just kept on. They just kept on going on. You know, there's just small bits of time being bought here and there, which all add up. They all add up into the extra generator done, the extra heal being secured, and I feel like that's just the main difference between these trials. You know, Bill had just very accurate phasing. I don't even think they missed a single phase in the previous trial, but this one has such a different tone. Ellie is struggling a bit in the middle game to secure Sky, and then also just has to, you know, maybe out of just nerves, not wanting to lose a survivor, stops the phase short and has to spend those extra seconds walking them down to secure the down. So yeah, we've got this situation now where there's 3 healthy survivors in this 3v1. Luckily still, you were saying before, this 3-gen is fairly workable for Ellie. It is fairly defendable, but it's only a matter of time, I think, before our survivors do crack it if they do play relatively optimally in this 3v1. That's actually going to be ADHD popping the sprint burst. Does not get the fast vault there. I think I like that play, not fast vaulting that, you know, understanding you don't want to zone yourself. They're going to perhaps get down here, but this is just extra distance being bought. Ellie stops the phase slightly short to try, you know, to make sure they don't get lost, and then ADHD makes it all the way down the map. It didn't really matter though, because the generator already popped, and that's going to be Renewal taking this first set, which was their set pick. So they are kind of expected to have that advantage there. But yeah, Ellie, I think they have the mechanics to play the Spirit. Perhaps with some more practice, could, you know, lock down the phases a bit more, because I think they were just a little bit shaky as the trial went on. perhaps again, but just nerves, didn't want to lose a survivor. Whatever it was though, it's still enough to secure 6 stages-ish. 5, probably they won't go for the unhook here, so probably 6 stages, which is pretty alright considering, again, as you're saying, it's their first time playing. Envy is a new team, and it wasn't their set pick, so not bad. Renewal obviously put on a strong performance on the survivors, but again, that's their set pick. So Slasher, I think, will be a completely different vibe.
Hub on Springtrap at 4 a.m. and going for cross map hatches every 20 seconds. And I'm sure he's going to be playing somewhat similar on Jason. It's definitely his favorite thing to do. And for Monk, the build, Pain Res, pop, and turn back the clock. No eruption, but this is kind of the Chinese blueprint, I like to call it. We saw it so much throughout Academy, and it's something we tend to see quite a bit from Pig as well. We saw it in CNDL a little bit. We saw it in DBD League as well from him, and I think it goes to show the strength of this build. But something that I'm kind of seeing is the omission of Ruin. I think Ruin on this killer is the biggest threat you could possibly have, but for Monk now, it's going to be up to him just getting a quick chase going. We've already thrown one javelin at Sky, a tunnel out onto this man yet again, back to back. I'm sure he's feeling the pressure, but yeah, we're going to see Monk taking a very quick chase, able to grab the spear and get Shaq Pallet very quickly out of the way. We know that Sky is still close by, and with these windows, we're not too safe. We have to be very, very careful because range on the killer does mean that things you would generally consider to be quite safe prove to not be. But oh my word, Tavi, sorry. As I discuss what the killer can do in Chase, we need to talk about less the micro side and more the macro side. These generators are incredible. We have Corrupt on 1. We have a 5-gen top side, and for our survivors, that's something that you can definitely be feeling scared of. It's going to be very, very important that we are taking our deaths towards the bottom side of the map and making sure these chases are not getting hooked anywhere towards main, because that could spell problems. I think the problems we're also having is that Tavi might not be here. So we're going to have to see what Monk can do. We're going to get this first down onto ADHD. That was a very quick chase. I'm not actually too sure what happened. I kind of looked away to my second monitor, making sure that Tavi hadn't passed away. But no, he has returned to me. And we're going to see this down onto ADHD. That's going to be a very nice down. Like I said, very quick. And it's towards exactly where we needed it. Back main. We're going to potentially get this hook front main. I don't know if this is a pain or is to interrupt any of our gens, but it is in fact, and that will be quite beneficial to us. I'm not too sure which gen it hit, but we do see this gen top mid regressing. I don't know if we have much gen pressure at all, Tavi, but once again, the hook position that we have is impeccable. These gens are ridiculous. I mean, we're just able to sit so comfortably in between them. I also did just see a crow fly up towards 10. I think that might be our unhooker, just positioned quite nicely for this quick unhook. I think, Tavi, I want to point out this. I've played a fair bit of this set now, like I said, with my team picking it this week, Farron, and then also Envy scrimming it alongside them against Monk. We've discovered that playing against this killer very, very quick. Oh my word, Monk is just decided to pull out the sniper rifle and get silence tagged all the way. And now a TP right on top of him. This could be a very quick down if we aren't careful, right in the position we need it to be. And unfortunately, we're not going to be able to win the Serpentile at 10, so silence is going to be on the ground. That's another pain res, and I'll tunnel out of ADHD. Although he has managed to get away, that doesn't buy you any safety against this killer, Jason. Is so fast. His traversal, his omnipresent evil, is able to cross map travel in seconds, and even more terrifyingly, it's the fact that he can track you down so easily in this mode unless you are crouched, stealthing around, walking like a crab, and you can't always do that. ADHD definitely needed to take his distance, and look at this. This generator at 5 has been we've appeared right on top of it. We're going to get to pop it. We know that somebody is right here. We got the killer instinct on them. The gen at 6 also alerts us to the position of somebody else. That has to be our 2 healthy survivors, and ADHD now has to be rotating very, very carefully. If he's caught out, this could prove to be very, very problematic, but Monk, once again, these gens all topside his 5-gen, which he can just sit in between with this hook. He has a spear, which can knock people away from the hook. It's kind of like a Wesker bound, in a sense, where you can prevent a trade just by throwing them away, Tavi. I'm really scared for our survivors over Renewal. Monk is in such a dominant spot. Dog's creeping on up here, but if Monk decides to just chuck a javelin his way, he's not going to be able to get this unhook at all. It's going to be up to Dog to be able to either sneak in or just concede the fact that Silence will be going second. We lose that gen at 5. That's all of our gens bottom side popped and out of the way. We now have to worry about every single generator top side. But consolidation now, I believe Sky has managed to rotate 2-1. They're going to be sitting that gen rather early, and Dog now positioned for the unhook. We do see Sir Spunk traveling about. He's going to come out towards 5. I'm not too sure what the plan is here. I don't think anybody's over here, Sir Spunk. This gen is gone. I think I just feel like he's gotten a bit lost here. He's checking towards Shaq yet again, maybe looking for the reset onto ADHD, who, to be fair, is here at 8. We do see him, spot him out. We do miss the javelin, though, so back to the hook, I'm sure we go. Trying to bait out the unhook on to Silence, who finally has gotten unhooked. Now we're going to be able to teleport right on top of him. We see his scratch marks heading towards main, and unfortunately, actually, that's not him at all. That's Dog. I'm not too sure where Silence has gotten off to, but I'm sure he's sent it bottom. The cross map does not occur yet again, but we will be in hot pursuit now, Tavi. Shaq out of the way. We knew that was dropped for our first chase, so Silence going to have to do their best to last now.
Yeah, this is a really critical chase. The last in Smunk just misses the javelin through the window. This is what I'm saying. He has the knowledge. He knows these killers. He knows them really well, but he hit that cross map before. That's an unfortunate miss on the back of Shaq. He just has to hold W here around Silence and try and secure the down, but he does not have a javelin to force this survivor away, and this means that one generator will fall on the top side of the map. Now he's just playing a 110 around this area. He tries to teleport away, gets the hook though, and maybe Silence has jiggied away, but no, he has not made that much distance. Tries to make it back towards the top side, but again, this is a lot of time bought by Renewal. That's 2 gens popping. That's the 5 gen being completely destroyed. We're gonna get a mini Mori here to finish off Mr. Silence, but like I think Renewal, that chase was really strong for the position, like for the point they were at. They popped 2 gens in the top side. It didn't. I think that's a great recovery. And oh my gosh, he gets the feed onto Sky, and now Sky is in a world of trouble because he's around main. Perhaps his zone around main. Smunk goes for the shot above. This is just insane, bro. This is what I'm saying. He has it, and he is following through. This time he is following through the pressure. He gets the cross map from Silence at the start of the trial, who was trading from ADHD, gets the tunnel out, now follows through onto Sky, now has the beautiful hook yet again on this mid map, and he's just able to look at this area and force the survivors away. Does not even have to walk towards the generator to force the survivors away. Just a simple threat of the throw might force them away. But okay, the unhook just comes through, and Smunk is going to miss this javelin. So if there is another point in time where our survivors can make something happen, this has to be it yet again, because this chase can go bot side, and that is where Smunk does not want to go.
Yeah, exactly. And we do see Sky already venturing down. I'm not too sure if it's in our best interest to commit this, because we do see Dog is already back on a gen. I'm sure ADHD is probably going to set up to double or at least split. They need a lot of progress, but the TP2 Shaq does buy us very little distance. Sky now having to play around Shaq with no pallet yet again, but the filler at 6 will buy us some safety. The javelin does come on out, but it misses barely. But once again, scrap pile right on here. We have another one in our hands. The strength of Jason is not that you're a ranged killer, it's the fact that you never have downtime. You are a spring trap with infinite axes, and Sir Smunk, knowing that he has the strength of that many axes, is going to be able to venture away very quickly back with his tail. This killer is so fucking bullshit, man. I hate it. I hate it here. I don't like this killer at all. It's so unfun, and unfortunately, I think Dog's going to be feeling all of that lack of fun. He's been caught out entirely. That's going to be him taking a tag towards the mid-map. The javelin comes out yet again. Sir Smunk unable to connect with this one, and going to give Dogs alongside of the filler. But once again, another scrap pile to collect, and that's going to be him with a javelin back in hand. Dog going to have to do his best to be able to avoid that, but to no avail. It's going to be him on the ground. The teleport does come on out. We're trying to bait something out and potentially find the location of a survivor with the omnipresent evil, but that does not occur. Dog now getting hooked on this same pain res top mid. It's going to potentially be the final pain res hitting main, and right now for Sir Smunk, he's going to do his best to find out a survivor. He could realistically sit up here on main and just wait for this drop. We're able to catch ADHG out as he's got a javelin in his chest, and now as well able to be spotted out quite nicely. That's the other strength of Jason, is that you don't even need to worry about tracking the survivor after you hit them. If they don't extract that javelin, you're going to get walls on them, and Now, for ADHD, he's got Chemtrap on this pallet, another Javelin in his hand for Sir Spunk, and potentially another to collect at this hook. We're going to have to play around this for a little while, but can break away only a few seconds to catch out. ADHD, rather, instead of going for the hook, we just play the mind game and get him down with the M1s. That will be a second hook onto ADHD. And Sir Spunk now a back main hook. We're going to once again just be able to sit literally on top of that main generator with a Javelin, look back and forth, and just play effectively Bloon's tower defense at this point, Tavi.
Balloon's tower defense, but every balloon is a blue balloon because they only take two dots to pop. Yeah, very interesting analogy there. Actually, I like that one. I like that one. Balloon's tower defense. I feel like Smunk is making it look that easy. He's just getting the shots, going for these. Okay, that arc nearly hit though. I think it was a little bit too high. He's making he is making it look easy. He's making this killer look like one of the strongest killers on this realm. Gets onto ADHD. But the anticipation comes through. He is not happy with how they were being dodged earlier in the trial, and when he needs to hit it, he does. That is ADHD out of the trial just like that. And yeah, now it's just Sky and Dog. I think it's just impossible in this situation. As soon as Smunk can secure any kind of pressure, it just feels over because he can just teleport back with the omnipresent evil, teleport with lightning speed, but then move with very slow speed, and just defend the generators like that. Similar to the Kaneki, you know, once you get injured against this killer, it's nearly impossible to do too much of to do too much in this trial because it's hard to attack the generator in at least in this 2v1. It's hard to attack the generator because he can just teleport out of nowhere and then, well, not out of nowhere, but you know what I mean. Like he can just teleport and just completely down you and force another survivor to come along, go for the unhook or the pickup on the slug. And you can see here, Dog, he's just caught out in the middle of nowhere on the mid map because there's literally nothing else he can do if he wants to work that generator. And he's gonna go down. So Smunk does secure a very nice 4k1 on Cold Tower. I think, yeah, he followed through with this very well. He got the first down fairly quickly, I would say. And then he transferred that pressure onto ADHD/Owen with that cross map, which is still unbelievable to me. I don't even know. I can't even fathom how he knew to go for that. He gets the tunnel out at around 3 gens, and one chase from Sky I think was enough to turn things around for Renewal. They popped 2 gens, but then after that, it was just wraps, and yeah, Smunk secures 4k1.
Intensive macro set, and for Solok, our Jason player for Renewal, I'm sure the macro is going to be up to scruff. Once again, Renewal, very experienced team. This man has 12,000 hours. He's been competing, I'm sure, for a very long time, and it's going to be up to Envy now to at least better, or what's the word, Tavi? Match the result of Sir Smunk.
Yeah, and as you were talking about Renewal in the previous trial, Solok just brought it into this one. They have Renewal as no, not Renewal. They have Ruin and Eruption. They have Ruin and Eruption, so I'm curious to also know how good Ruin is on this killer, considering he can literally teleport to the Ruin. So it probably will be a huge problem. Oh, okay, Solok, actually, I don't know what that was. I feel like he should have just absolutely gone for the Javelin there, but he gets a quick tag anyway, and actually threatens through the window. Again, amazing knowledge of the killer there by Solok, and he's actually just going to leave this and try head back to the gen setup. I do like this play. It's just, you know, force out a survivor to play safe and then catch out somebody else in maybe a worse position, which it does seem like Ellie could be in a bit of trouble here. Has to go for the pathing around the RNL and will actually sort of bamboozle Solok here, so gets a lot of time out of it, but will not be able to successfully delay it for long enough, as they will just go down to the spear here. But that's a fairly alright start. Again, there is ping between these teams. I hope, I guess, yeah, I hope that Ruin gets cleansed soon, because if it does not get cleansed, oh dearie me, that is really bad. I also did have a very quick check of the balancing and just the difference between tier 2 and tier 3. And there's a huge jump between tier 2 and tier 3. There's like a lot of perks that are being banned between those two tiers, which really would indicate that if 4k1 was happening more often, that's probably why. Also, a very early pull comes through from Sane, and I think that's gonna be for the people and Cleanberg coming through. But yeah, I don't think I still don't think even with like this, you don't need to do anything flashy. Even with like tier 3 bouncing just to get a 4 in, you don't need to do anything but too flashy. You just need to play the game and play well, and that's good enough. So yeah, that's already 2 fresh hooks. Um, I'm not sure if Solok will go for a tunnel out here though.
Yeah, I mean, look, the pressure that you have with Ruin does mean you kind of don't really need to play for a tunnel out early on. You are able to play this very aggressive playstyle where you just go for tags, injures, any down you can get, and just teleport back to a gen that's high progress and force them off it. Just the threat of being in Omnipresent Evil will force survivors away from those generators, and fortunately for Mango, speaking of getting away, he's managed to use Balance Landing to successfully evade that spear from Solok, and now Solok, not interested in this chase, wants to head back to the bottom side, trying to catch Sane out yet again, but the teleport at 6, unfortunately, meets us with Ellie. This is another hooked survivor, so a chase is ideal, with the dodge does come on out, and to the edge map, 8 we go as Evil will buy us some distance, and unfortunately an M1 does come out, but a jungle to play toward. Solok will be able to collect a spear on the inside, and Locky also has been caught out working this gen here. Going to be a bit problematic now. Both of our injured tunnel out options are close by, and Solok does have a javelin. We're going to see a hit take trying to come out from Mango. We do get that hit, and fortunately for Sane, the collateral does mean an extra bit of distance, but now Mango will have to play around this top mid section of the map. The teleport comes on now. We're heading towards 3 yet again. We grab the spear back to 1. We see the footsteps. It's going to be a teleport cut off onto Sane, and although the pallet is here, I do predict we might be going down quite quickly. Lyth buy us some distance back inside, and that does allow us to escape, but the prediction throw comes on out. That's Sane pinned against the wall inside the main building, and unfortunately for him, a second hook at 5 generators Tavi. This is a pressure that Ruin does allow, and I think I wanted to touch on this, that although I think Painter's pop, turn back the clock from Sir Smunk is a very strong combination of perks. The ability to have both Ruin and Eruption on this killer is something that I would never pass up. They seem to be the most ideal perks to have, and we do see our first generator of the trail pop. Mango here caught out entirely at 8. The javelin to potentially down us over that pallet, but Mango reads into it nicely. Just holds his distance around this tile. We're going to see the vault coming out, but there's nothing you can do. We just get zoned. The javelin does pin us against the wall. We block the pallet with our movement, and unfortunately, that will be a first hook on to Mango. 4 hooks for 1 generator, definitely not ideal, and one of our worked generators at 8 there, we did here, has regressed a fair bit just off the back of Ruin still being up, and now our survivors really need to try to slow down the game. Tavi, we have 2 injured survivors, one of them death hook, and if one of them's caught out now, it would be so problematic. They're going to need to do their best to stealth and reset, and I think Solok is aware of that too. He's checking all the way edge. 12 catches out Sane immediately. This is very problematic for Envy. Him exiting the trial would spell basically a very poor position. Right now, I think Envy need to enter damage control. They need to get resets onto all of the survivors, enter this 3v1 all healthy, and potentially hope that Cerezia, wherever he may be, is able to get a gen done in this time. I don't think the progress that we have around the map is going to be sufficient enough right now for that to happen, but one can dream at this point for Envy. We do see Ruin finally cleanse, and that does spell some good news, but that does give Solok access to Eruption, and I dare say Eruption in the 3v1 is just as threatening on this killer.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you can't cleanse Eruption, so it's pretty much a permanent perk for the rest of the trial that our survivors have to contend with. Yeah, problems for our survivors, I think, is just is the current situation. But yeah, they have tunnel out of 4 gens. It's hard to really say what went wrong. I think Solok just played this really well. Maybe the gen efficiency wasn't there. Maybe they just needed to rotate a little bit better. But yeah, it's hard to say now. Ellie is going to get caught out on the generator pretty much. It's going to go down thanks to ping. And I don't really know if there's much our survivors can do. We can... Yeah. Oh, a beautiful flashlight! But it's going to be avoided by Solok. That is really unfortunate. I think, again, ping might have just been coming through from... for that flashlight save not to work, because that seemed like a bit of a scam if you ask me. Doesn't matter though. This trial still feels extremely difficult for our survivors, even if that did come through. Luckily though, Solok does miss that javelin, so Cerezia can continue this chase for a bit of time. But yeah, you can see here's the problems. He's so close. He's so good at protecting like literally anything because of that omnipresent evil. So when you're just like close to him in any means. It's even worse. And that's actually just Ellie going down through the window. Not really much more to say about that, except it's a 2v1 now. There's still 4 gens in the trial. And I really don't think Solok did too much flashy. It just continued chasing, just played the game, and when finally caught outsane in a bad spot with the tunnel out, you know, they're trying to keep him alive, but then you just caught him out on the edge map. He goes down. The whole kind of team collapses or starts collapsing from that point on. Ellie just gets tunneled out, and there's not really much compensation for it except some progress on 8. So yeah, somehow these 2 survivors need to pop 3 generators on tier 3 balancing against a killer that can literally teleport to your location and hear you scream. Yeah, pretty difficult stuff here. But yeah, well played to Solok. This is just the kind of gameplay which shows how versatile Jason can be. It's you don't have to tunnel someone out immediately. You can just apply pressure slowly, and then the survivors might not be able to cope with the amount of injuries and amount of gen pressure that he can apply.
Yeah, I mean, look, I actually genuinely don't understand how you play out a good 3v1 against this killer, let alone a 2v1. Obviously, I think a 2v1 against any killer is nigh impossible unless you have incredible pressure. But look, Mango and Cerezia are managing. We have a pretty decent split on this Gen 3 and 9. I believe this is Cerezia here finally going to be caught out, but it does give the opportunity for Mango to hop on that Gen, play for a 4k3, which is definitely the best result we're going to manage from this situation. But no pallet here at 1 does mean a quick tag will be coming on out to Cerezia. It's an M1 as well, meaning we don't have to venture too far away to grab a javelin. This can result in a 2-tap if we aren't careful. The shot that Sir Spunk hit mere moments ago comes out from Solok but does not connect, so Cerezia will hold their distance around main, and Solok, wanting to reload, heads on over to that hook there at 11 and grabs his next javelin. Cerezia able to dodge yet again, and Solok will once again be in hot pursuit. Another javelin in his hand to potentially get a cross map down, but Cerezia doing enough to last. I'm not too sure what progress Mango has on this gen, but the Jiggy towards 1 gets us back safely to main. We have the filler and the window to play around. We fake the window vault and back to the filler we go, but once again, the strength of a ranged killer isn't just the fact that they can down you from far away, it's the fact that they can zone you so effectively. Cerezia left with no options in that chase will be on the ground. Unfortunately for Mango, not enough time was bought. He's going to be found out by the Eruption Aura, and now we'll enter the final chase of the game. Solok able to secure his 4k4 off of the back of that, and honestly, Tavi, I don't know what much more you could ask for from a killer. Achieving a 4k4 result is incredible, and Mango has conceded the fact that this will just be a 4k4, so letting the game get over with.
Yeah, I think I probably have to watch the VOD from week 1 to see how Pig played this killer. Pig is just somehow getting every single killer to like top caliber performances in less than a week. I want to see how he handled this killer, whether he went for a quick tunnel out, whether he went for kind of slow pressure like Solok did here and then collapsed when the situation was appropriate. Because yeah, I think Solok just really played incredibly well. The survivors I think might have been lacking a bit of gen efficiency, but it's a Jason, bro. Like this killer is a panic time like every time he goes.